welcome guys to Jet Coding, and today's session we will tackle one of the algorithms that we decide to um, solve. So we always go through the internet and just find one of the basic algorithms, then we will just come back here and then solve it together with you guys. So today I have with me Dixon, and Dixon is a member of the Jet team, and other guys will join later. Yeah. So Dixon, you can say hi. I think if you can hear me.
Yeah, hello everyone.
All right. So Dixon will be here and he'll be asking you all the newbies questions so that at least you watching at home, you'll be very comfortable with some of the doubts I'll be having. All right. So like we always do, to solve this simple problem, which is find the maximum number in an array of numbers, all they want from us is to look for the highest value of the list. So it's very simple. By using your eyes, you can just know that, okay, 12 and 5, 12 is bigger, 12 and 3, you see? So 12 is bigger, you look through, and I think 12 will win. You can use your eyes. But what if these numbers are like millions, hundreds, thousands? Of course, it's going to be very difficult for you to use your eye to scan and pick the highest number. So that is all what they want from us. They want us to write an algorithm which can go through all these numbers and pick the highest value and just give it out. All right. So this one involves a few steps. Okay. So the most important thing is the steps that we need to go through. Okay. So today's lesson, I think you will learn variables, which you all know. You've already gone through them, but I always want to repeat this, that we can go through variables, which we have a keyword of var, and also let, then the const in JavaScript. Okay. So basically, when we say Java, a variable in any of the programming language, it's simple, just a memory allocation in this your computer. Okay, so you're trying to tell the computer that give me an allocation and I want to store this value for a temporary use. So it's very simple. You can use the keyword var, and you said, okay, box will be the name that you choose. It could be any name, but of course you cannot start with number, but you can end with the number, any of the numbers. All right, so you can say box 12, then equal sign, then whatever value you want to put inside this box, then you just put them. And the value that you'll be putting them, we have two types, either a date, that's what we call data type. It could be number or it could be a string. Okay, so these are the two data types that I want you to take note of. Right, so I can just put numbers here, 23, so that this box thing is holding 23 in the memory, temporary. All right, it can also hold my name. This 22 over that, this 22 3 that I put over there, just look at it. It has what, some codes. It means that this is a string. If there is no code and I still have this 23, it means it's a number. That's what we call data type. Okay, so we have number, then we have what, string. Okay, we have other data type, but I just want you to put these two in your head because that's what we'll be using in this session, right? Number and a string. Okay, so once I put this code, whatever comes in there is what, a string. That's it. All right. Okay, so the keyword is the most important thing, var, let, and const. Okay, all right. And then another thing that I want us to look at it again is the array method of the length. Okay, when we say array method of length, this is array. Okay, this is array. So what is array? Someone will ask. Array is just a list of items. Okay, so my numbers has a list of item of 12, -5, -3, 10, -9, 5, 10, 11, then -90. So this is the list of items that I have. Okay, so that is what we call array. So array has what, a way of, you can see that array has this square bracket. Okay, so that is how we declare an array. So we can say the variable, of course, which is going to be your memory allocation, which is going to be lab box 12, I told you. Okay, then equal sign, then square bracket. Okay, so whatever list or whatever item you place in between these square bracket will be your arrays. That's what we call arrays. Okay, so I can start putting my name here. Okay, and it's an array. It contains names, which is me and what, Dixon. All right, so this array has two items or on this, and this has many of them. So it's the same thing. Okay, you can even we can even combine them. We can even put a number 2 as well. I can put 12 here. I can put 13 over here too. And it's still the same. So in JavaScript, we can just combine these two. You can put numbers and then you can put string 2 at the same time on the same array, right? So that is all about array. So this array has what we call methods, okay? The only one method, and there's one method that I want us to talk about, which is, we call it dot length, okay? So dot length means I just want to find the length of this array. I can just use my eye and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I know this list has 9 items, but what of if they are 100, 1,000? I don't need to just go through and just count them, but we have a very helper method, okay? So I just have to bring the array name, which is what the number is numbers, right? Then the length, I'll bring the length, th here, okay? So it tells me that I have what, 9 items. So you can check down here, I have 9. So for us to check, let's put another number, like 59, and you see change to what, 10. So by the help of this method, which is what dot length, we're able to tell that, okay, array has 10 items, all right? There are 10 items on this array, right? We can just take this one off and we still have what, our 9, meaning that the function length method is working. We call it method, all right? So that's another thing I wanted to point out. The next thing that I wanted to point out is what we call index, okay? So let me put it here just in case anything. Okay, so we have the length method. So it's th. Then there's another one I want to talk about, which is what, index. Okay. So index, what we say index, okay? So when we say index, we are trying to tell that, okay, all these items on this list has what we call index, meaning where exactly is this item located? So you can see that this one is located at first, this one is the second, this one is the third, fourth, fifth, like that, right? So that's what we call index. So in array, indexes start from 0. So we all know that we all know that 12, the first item, meaning 12 is the index of 0. And this one will be the index of 1. Then 3, -3 will be index of what? 2. It goes on and on. So indexes start from 0 till the end, right? So before you know, I think we can just demonstrate this and just say, okay, my numbers, okay? Then our square bracket, then once you put in the 0, okay, it will just pull the first item on the list. And you can see that we have 12 here, meaning that 12 is the first item on this array of list. I don't know if it makes sense. So let's say we want to put 3, let's put 5 instead. So 5 tells you that, okay, 5 is pulling what? 5, because this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is coincidence. How can 5 pull 5? So let's try and make it 6 and see if we'll get our 10. All right, see, we have 10. So indexes are very important to know that every array element or every array item has what we call index. And by using the index, you'll be able to tell exactly where the item is. So we know that number 10 is in the what? In the position of what? 6, right? Because it started from 0. So we know exactly where the item is located. So that is all about indexes. I hope it makes sense. Then we will jump from the indexes and go back to our functions. Okay, which I've already talked about functions, but let me give you another highlight on how function works. Okay, function also starts with the keyword function. Okay, so you start the keyword function. Okay, then you bring your, okay, with your bracket open and close. Let me make it very nice over here. After the parentheses, you bring your bracket open and close. So this is how function is being declared. Function keyword, your parentheses, open and close. Then we have your curly brackets, open and close. And outside of this, you can call a function. But don't forget that a function is supposed to have a name. So how do you put a name? You bring the name very close to it. In our case, I think I can put any name, right? Okay, let's put a name like find, okay, maximum, right? Let's make it short. Okay, find max. Okay, something like that. So a function keyword, what do you want to call the function? Okay, then after that, you bring your hot parentheses, then you bring your open and close curly bracket, okay? Then outside of it, you can call the function. So this is how we call the function. We bring the function name, okay? Then this is how you call the function, right? So you declare your function, then you call your function, right? So this is the first step. And the second step, every function has an input, okay? Because just a function like this, what do you want the function to do for you? You're supposed to supply the function something, a raw material. Then once you give it a raw material to the function, then you tell the function to prepare whatever you want. So let's say if you give a cassava to this function, what do you want the function to do to the cassava? You want it to chop it, you want it to squeeze it and get you the starch from the cassava. So it's up to you to write that algorithm that, okay, I'm giving you cassava, but this cassava, I want you to squeeze it and give me the starch from this cassava. Okay, so that is what we call argument. So whatever you give to this guy, we call it argument. So I can just put one number here, 1. Okay, then we call something parameters. It's receive what we call parameters. Okay, and we have a parameter variables. So if I put a here, of course, a is a variable going to hold this. Hello, Dixon, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So I was talking about argument and what parameters, right? So the a,
Yeah.
call it parameters, and then this one will be the argument. So every function is supposed to have an argument, which is the input, and it has a parameter, okay, which is receiving the input. Okay, so in between this curly brace, which is the open and close, whatever you want to do to this is up to you. So what do you want to do to the a, which is holding a value of 1? Okay, I just want everybody to see that I've received a. So we can use our function, console dot log, just to see what we have in a. Okay, so and what we have in a is 1. So whatever a parameter you pass here, okay, to go through the argument, then once you tell the argument to display it, whatever you want to do to it, you just tell, okay, I want you to take it. All right, so let's say you want to put a second one, so 100 and another 100. Okay, that means we're supposed to grab b over here too. So we are grabbing the first parameter is holding this, and the second parameter is holding this one. So what do you want to do? If you want to add them, you can just put a and b over here, and you have 200. Very simple as that. Okay, so it's very simple that, okay, we have an input and we have out a parameter. This is argument. Normally it confuses us, but this is what we call argument. This is what we call parameters. All right. Okay, and there's another thing that I want to point out to you guys, that, okay, this argument, like, just in case you did not supply anything to this one, I want to give this one a default value, because something default value. So we can just, let's say 100 here. Okay, so should in case I did not add my 100 over here, of course, I'm still going to get my 200. But I'm trying to tell the, just in case the person provide only one, still this one has a default of what? 100. So let's try something and give a default of, let's say, let's give 12 here, and let's give 10 here, right? Which is 120, right? Because we are supplying 100. Okay, so the A is taking 100 instead of 12, because we've already provided our value. So in case there's no value over here, let's see what happens. You see, we have 22. That means it's adding this and this together. But once you give a value, okay, it overrides the default value for A, and this one will take over. Same to the B. If I provide another one, like let's say 9, the 9 will override the B value, which is 10, and give me. So this will be added. But in case you did not provide any value, then it will use a default value. All right. So this is another takeaway, right? So basically, this is how I can function to you for now as a beginner, right? Next thing, you want to say something, right?
No, everything is clear. I think today everything is final and basic.
All right. Yes, I always want us to go basic so that the newbies will have everything. It makes sense, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
So now that we know we have our function, why don't we take everything off, because this is not what we want. We will tackle the problem very soon. All right, so let's take everything out. Now we have our function, but the function has nothing. We need to we need to tell the function to do whatever we want to do, right? Okay, so now we can go back to the problem now. So find maximum number in an array of numbers. That means we need to write an algorithm to go through this and get us what? The higher value. Okay, of course, we are going to use a for loop to do this. Okay, all right. So we can start by telling using a for loop. But before for loop, I want us to variable, which will be holding that our maximum number at the top. Okay. So I want to use the let keyword today. Okay. Then let's call it mass. Okay. Let's give it a value of okay, before that, I think we need to provide the input and output first. So what are we going to receive over here is the problem now. What are we going to receive over here? So let's say we want to receive all this array and work on this array. So let's pick this numbers, okay? And let's feed it to the function that take this array, okay? But when you get in here, I want you to call it array, okay? So now we know that this array is in here, right? The array is inside the function now, so we can use it for anything. I want us to store this. We want us to store a first value of the array as our starting point. Okay, I want us to store that one as our starting point. So we have a maximum, that is a memory allocation or a variable that we are declaring, okay, which is going to hold a value. So what value I want us to hold the first value so that we can compare them like that. So I just bring this, and you remember the square bracket and the 0, meaning I'm trying to grab number 12, which of course I know what it is because it's the first value. So I know the maximum number is what? 12 now. But we don't know if we have a higher number at the back. So let's hold this one in there as the base. Then we will start looping through to check if you can get any number which is what? Greater than that 12. If you have any number greater than that 12, that means we need to replace the 12 with another number. That's the logic behind the whole thing, right? Okay. So now we can go do a for loop to loop through the array. Okay. It's a for. This is how we for loop. Okay? The same thing like a function. Just bring your for keyword. Bring your for keyword. Then in between these parentheses, that is where you have to provide what we call initial, and then call something condition, then update. Okay, I think I talked about this one in our previous video. But what it means is, okay, we want to declare a function, normal function normal variable declaration that we used to do. So let's use a let keyword, okay, and then we're going to call that variable what I. Okay, in loop mostly we use it. So we said let I being equal to what? A 0, okay, 0 value, okay. So our I is having a 0 value, but if that I, the same I, okay, is less the length of the array, so we want to grab the length of the array, which I've already told you, use the length what? Keyword, okay. So let's get the length of the array. How do we get the length of the array? Okay, the array is already here, okay. So we don't need to use this one, but we can use this one because we've already passed it through the function, so we are grabbing it over here, right? And say array what length, okay, th, right? So now that we have our value, so we said let I be equal to 0 if that I less than what? The length of the array. You all know the length of the array is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But we can't just put 9 here because later someone can come and put another value. So we're supposed to grab this one using this logic of dot length. Okay, so once this I is less than the length of the array, okay, then do something. After doing that thing, we want you to update the I, change the I, the value of the I, which is what? I plus plus. I plus plus means take 0 and add 1 to it. So this value will change to 1 for the first attempt. After the first attempt, to check this condition, to check this condition, is that number 1 less than the array length, which is 9? Yes, it's less than that. 1 is less than 9. So if 1 is less than that, I want you to perform that task that I've given you again. Continue doing whatever I've instructed you to do until this value becomes false. So once this condition is true, the function will keep running until it becomes false. That is the trick. So what do we do inside for loop? What do we do inside this for loop? I think your microphone is back. I don't know if you can pause yourself. Yes. If you can mute yourself, then when you want to talk, then you talk. Yeah. All right, good. So
Is it mine?
yes, I think it's yours.
Yeah.
I think it's yours. I think it's cool now. Yes, it should be good now. Yes, good. All right. So in between these curly braces, we have to provide something. We need to do some checking. Okay. So what are we going to do? We have to check. So we are checking by using what? If statement. We all know if statement. I think I've already talked about if statement, but let's check it again. So we're going to say if something, do something. Okay, that is what we want. So let's come back with our this braces, curly braces. Something's supposed to happen in between this. So if something, so what are we checking? If, okay, the array that we've given to the function, which is what ARR, okay, when you grab the first item, which is the I, because we're using the I is 0, and I can change to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can use the I because it's very dynamic, right? So that we don't manually put them, but we can like dynamically pull the item from the array. Okay, so it's a check this array, okay, and grab the first item. If that first item that you grab over there, okay, in the array is greater, okay, than the maximum, this one. If it's greater than this number over here, okay, if it is true, then we want you to go back to this memory or this container, okay, and update it, okay, and update this container, sorry, update this container with that value, if that value is what, greater. You understand? I don't know if you are getting the trick now. Let me repeat this one again, okay? So check, so if array that is given to the function, okay, grab the first item, okay? Once you grab that item, compare that item. If that item is greater than this item, then do this. Else, we want you to return. Okay, so we have a return keyword here. Return whatever you have in that container. Else, understand? So if the value is not greater than this, return. If it is, we want you to replace it. That's the simple explanation I can give you from here. That you check whatever I have in the first item. Already we have the first item here. So it's going to pick what? 12. Is 12 greater than 12? Of course, no. If it is no, then don't do this, but give me that 12. Okay. But mind you, we have what? Update here, which will change this guy to what? 1. If you change this one to 1, of course, that means we are going to grab the second item. Okay. We're going to grab the second item. Once we grab the second item, to check again, is -5 greater than 12? The answer is no, it's not greater than 12. So if it is not, then don't do this one, but give me 12. So it will keep checking until it finds what? A higher value, which is greater than the first item. Then it will return. I hope this makes sense. So let's see how we can, our return supposed to be at the, here, supposed to be here instead, because we are returning from the, check the code, yeah, we're returning from the for loop, okay? So it's supposed to be here, right? Now that we have our value, we can display it and see if everything works. So what are we going to do? We have to do what? Our console.log, right? Console.log. Let me grab this. Go to the end. And let's see if you have it. I think we need to run this. Action, stop, and run again. Right? Boom. We have our 12 value here. Why don't we try and give a label, something like a label. Let's try and label it. So let's give max. All right. So our maximum value is what? 12. Of course, it's 12. We all know. But let's say we can change this 90 to a positive value. And to check, and we have what? 90 as our highest value in the array. Guys, I hope it makes sense with this simple explanation. I hope this makes sense. And I hope you've learned a lot from this. We want to make this one very short as we can, so that we don't spend much time here. So if something is, I mean, you have a doubt or you have some kind of misunderstanding, you need to rewatch the video and then get a full understanding of the whole thing. I hope this solves our problem, right? Okay. So Dixon, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the problem is solved by using this for loop, then our function, and our dot
Yeah.
highest value from
Exactly. Exactly.
all right. So guys, we'll end the session here and we'll come again with another JavaScript algorithm. Thank you guys.